Hi, folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the Video Game Chew podcast, the non-lecherous edition.
Oh, I suppose that was what that one was.
Yeah, this is the Chaste episode. We're normal now. We'll see how it goes in the future, though. For now, we're normal. I'm John. I'm here. I'm on here talking about all kinds of shit going on. With me this week. You heard Rose. Rose is here.
Hi, I am here. Video game.
Just one. Maverick, you're also here. How many video games are you bringing to the table?
I actually have a few this time, surprisingly.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring -1 because I only played Xenoblade again, so that's kind of -1. But folks, we got content, we got stuff going on. There's all kinds of fucking news this week. Again, it's crazy right now. It's fucked up. It's a crazy season. Some good, some bad, some stuff that just happened on the day of recording. I don't know. Is there anything in particular y'all want to hop into, like just from the get-go, or do you maybe want to talk about what you've been playing? What's the mood today? What's the mood?
I don't know. Maverick, what do you feel like? What do you want to talk about your beloved Kingdom Hearts animatic? Do you want to talk about Tokyo Xanadu? I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
We could at least start with something like, because I've got thoughts. I've definitely got a lot of thoughts, both on this, both on there's also like some thoughts I've got outside of like the actual stuff happening day of, but now, let's have some fun to start it out, at least, I think.
Folks, it happened. There was going to be, at some point, a Kingdom Hearts cartoon on the Disney Channel. Or at the very least, it was pitched. I don't know exactly how far things went here, but it didn't go through all the way. It did not air. So, the show's director, Seth Kearsley, who you may know from The Dilbert Show, The Looney Tunes Show, and 8 Crazy Nights, the movie, the Adam Sandler movie, posted the animatic of the show, which was basically just what they used to pitch it to Disney and do some test stuff. Here, I'll just read what was put in the description of the video that Kearsley says. I don't own this. I claim no rights to any part of this except that it is my work. I'm not profiting. I want to show my work. It's been 20 years. This is not without flaws, which I have no doubt will be pointed out. But I was really proud of the story we were able to tell in the time we had. Setting up the entire premise of a series and doing a typical episode is a tall order. I feel like we pulled that off, and when they tested it with kids, it tested better than anything else they were testing in that round. And so, what happened was that this was just on a VHS tape that Kearsley had, that they were, using to shop it around to Disney and to the kids and all that. And it didn't get picked up. This was something that could have happened, but it did not. And it did get taken down by Disney a couple of days later, but it's out there. They can't. It's out there now. It was digitized pretty recently. Like Kearsley was posting "Hey, I have this VHS. I want to get it posted online." So they got it digitized, and so it exists now. There's nothing Disney can do now. It is out there. And yeah, there's it's obviously not the highest quality thing. It's an animatic. And the writing is nowhere near perfect. It is messy. But yeah, it was a pitch. It was the start of the creation. There would be a lot of edits. There would be a lot of, polishing to turn it into something that, it would be an actual full episode and not just what it is. But it was Kingdom Hearts. That shit was Kingdom Hearts. They had all the voice actors doing the voices for it. It was real. And yeah, just watching that was surreal, because it really feels there's an alternate universe where this was huge. You know, like they had this on Disney Channel and kids were watching it and just loving this story of Kingdom Hearts, you know, because I mean, they would have probably like expanded upon it, you know. What if they had made more worlds that weren't in the games, you know, like they might have had more freedom as like a show. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I am obviously not the Kingdom Hearts fan here, so I would love to hear from you two what you think about the animatic, and also how you think a Kingdom Hearts show would have been if it had come out at the time.
I think like it could have been really good because that was still that era of where you could get away with making an absolutely insane cartoon. I think not that like people don't get away with that stuff today. Obviously, there's people making like a lot of really inventive and cool stuff, but there is a lot less of it. And that was an era where it was like they were pushing out so many shows at the time you could get away with anything. Like you just look at the output of the Disney Channel specifically, like absolutely fucking insane in that era. So I bet it could have been really cool, could have been really interesting. Like, also, it could have been really bad for Kingdom Hearts the games if that gained any sort of like legitimate ground. I think because that was back when it was just Kingdom Hearts 1, and the idea that like with how insane Kingdom Hearts goes immediately, like with Chain of Memories and especially Kingdom Hearts 2, it's like. The concern being we reached the state that Kingdom Hearts 3 is currently at, right? Like where all of the Disney movies are very like clinical and like other than Toy Story and Monsters Inc., I think. But like Frozen was just Frozen, right? Like Big Hero 6, it was just Big Hero 6, like stuff like that. Like we would have reached that clinical state, like I think a lot sooner, maybe. Just with more executives having like a vested interest in managing the brand, as it were. So that is my concern. Are they working on a Kingdom Hearts show right now? I thought that was something.
Are they?
I feel it. Yeah, that was just a rumor or something. But I was gonna say like whatever this would have been way better than whatever that is, if that is real. Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, part of that whole idea of corporate, IP being consistent, apparently, and I believe this is backed up by like further discussion from Leandri, the reason that the show, and it wasn't just like, one animatic, I believe they had done pretty considerable work into getting the series together, but what had happened was Chain of Memories and 2 got announced. This show was basically running on the contingency of just Kingdom Hearts 1. And so once the announcement of a sequel came out, is kind of just like, all right, we can't, from what I can assume, it's like we can't have this airing concurrent with the new hotness that's going to come out, especially when Chain of Memories was on, a handheld. And as we can see from every single piece of discourse that sucks in the internet, people didn't play Chain of Memories and just immediately went to 2. Which, neither here nor there, just the way that the series ended up going, it didn't provide the space necessarily for what they wanted to do with the show itself. And also apparently would have also been taking more pages out of the manga, which is an interesting turn of events as well. And how they sort of like stylize everything, focus on specific characterization. It would have been taking more direction from that retelling of the game itself. And when it first released, my immediate thought was the alternate universe version of me that got to see the show completely is a happier person and is living a much more fulfilling life. That said, it definitely would have been different. I mean, like the biggest competition it would have had in terms of like 2002, 2003 cartoons that are doing a narrative focus would have been fucking Code Lyoko. And so, and Teen Titans, like we were starting to see this development of pseudo anime inspiration, seeing that like, this stuff is selling. People really dig Pokemon and whatever. So let's like lean into it, I guess. But I think it would have been interesting to see overall, especially at the way that apparently they kind of also wanted to pitch as sort of like episodes focused on characters from each world actually taking the time to defeat the Heartless or whatever. So like it would have been, oh no, Aladdin has to save like Jasmine from the Heartless, but Leandri was the one that sort of like pushed for focusing still on Sora, Riku, and Kairi, which it's definitely interesting to see the way those sorts of conversations come out, and really just like puts into perspective sort of the way that like it's easy to joke about how Kingdom Hearts is becoming a series that's like deviating from that original literal elevator pitch, but at the same time, I feel like it has to at a certain point. Like you see the animatic, and yes, you have, you know, the voice of Jiminy Cricket at the time narrating and providing this sort of like follow up of, oh boy, well, Sora's going to go ahead and take care of the Keyblade, and he has to go to Agrabah. And like, you know, it's very like a story time telling and a basic in that way. Goofy is sort of like the parental figure, which I think really works. It's fun to have Bill Farmer breathe life into that character. Donald's sort of just doing Donald voice, but you hear such a great performance from, I believe in this one it sounds like in this pilot it was Haley Joel Osment, but I believe they might have cast somebody else. Kyle Gallagher, the voice of Riku, did a fantastic job in this, and it's like some of the strongest acting from Riku I've heard in the entirety of that character. There's a scene where Kairi gets to kick a Heartless, and that's more than she's ever done in the series. Well,
until
say
3.
for the end of 2.
But I mean,
she got to swing some Heartless with the Keyblade.
Yeah, and then in Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC ending, she kills Xehanort.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah,
she takes a big nap.
It took them like 18 years to do that.
It took them 18 years to do that versus here where it would have at least been like...
probably more likely.
In that, like, you know, pseudo... Like, I guess pseudo Gen X inspired, like, a girl can do anything a guy can. Sparkle on. But also it would have been fun. Like, it was fun to see a characterization that did take a bit more inspiration from cartoons at the time. And it's not just these, like, blank facets of hope and darkness and light. Like, they feel like kids. And that's fun. The way that in 11 minutes you immediately go from... the pacing is incredible in this, too. Like, you know, you start with a flashback, or what is it? Narrative about, you know, oh, there's various worlds. Here's a story about one kid from one world who had to save them all. Flashback to the island, and then the Heartless happens. Cut to Sora on the gummy ship, also giving some interiority to what that looks like. And John, you're right. As we were like seeing it, it would have been a great gag to keep having the gummy ship change appearance for each episode.
That's like the Simpsons gag ass bullshit.
Yeah, one of them is just the Cactuar.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, and then, you know, it goes into, oh, today we're going to go to Agrabah. Oh, man, you found Riku, which we, the audience, know he's working with Maleficent, but Sora doesn't know that. Fun little irony. And then, you know, we think they're going to work together, but it turns out he needs the power. And ending it with Sora inspired to continue his journey while Riku continues to go down his path to darkness. How will these friends reconcile? And for 11 minutes, it is spectacular the way that all is packed in, but also coherent. Like, it's not just a jumbled mess of pacing. Would have been great.
Yeah, I genuinely do think that, like, for all of my, like, concerns about theoretics, like, it's just, like, realistically, like, it would have been good. It would have been a good thing for kids. It would have gotten a lot more kids into Kingdom Hearts. Not that that really needed to happen. I feel like there's a lot of kids who got into Kingdom Hearts, like...
Yeah, it's more so, like, we either have a world that has this entire, like, focus on Kingdom Hearts as a franchise and the way that, for better and for worse, that plays out. And maybe we have this other reality of Kingdom Hearts is a once-in-a-generation, once-in-a-lifetime event of very big industries deciding to, like, let the modern-day Roger Rabbit for better and for worse. And then also it had a pretty cool cartoon that a lot of kids liked.
Yeah, like even if it was, because that is like something I was thinking about was how, there was a point around that like a little after that time where there were a lot of action cartoons that were basically just getting picked up for a single season and then getting dropped just because like they weren't getting toys out there, basically. Like there was that Tron show that Disney even did. There was like Young Justice and Green Lantern that were on Cartoon Network that like people loved those shows, but because I guess they didn't move toys, they got like canceled after like a season or two. And like I think Kingdom Hearts would have been at that point where it would have been before a lot of that. So it's a little hard to say like, oh, would this have picked up and been multiple seasons, or would this maybe have been like a one season thing? And then even then, like that would have been interesting even to just have it as a single season, because it would have been like, yeah, like here's this thing that's basically like an adaptation of Kingdom Hearts 1 in a way, like I don't know, it could have been cool. We're all just we all we can really do is speculate, but it's nice that there is this physical availability to see what almost happened. That the whole finding lost media thing. It's always neat.
I would also say, like, this would have been out at the time that Michael Eisner would have still been CEO of Disney, and it's easy to forget with the way that it is so monolithic right now, but early 2000s, Disney was still in some form of a rut, in some form of like decline, that there was at least still probability on whether or not they would have been bought out by another company. And so, like with, as avid listeners of Defunct Land know, everything related to the park side of Disney also kind of affected everything else as a result, and just the entirety of that whole era up until like Bob Iger took over, and then things started to shift. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least like, the discussion of having this go on and where it could have like continued. But ultimately, yeah, like the existence of Chain of Memories and 2, I think at least helped make the decision that, by the time this all comes out, we're already going to be planning for this new scenario. And with the way that 2 takes such a specific direction, it would have been, I feel like, yeah, they probably made the decision that in the long run, it's a little bit more easier to back up, or at least like easier to understand.
Mm-hmm. It's wild out there. It was neat to see. Let's see here. Rose, it's been a hot minute since you've been on. Do you want to talk about games you've been playing?
Yeah, sure. Last time I was a little after last time I was on, I started getting back into the Chrono Cross remaster, which is I played that game when I was a kid. I remembered very little of it, though I remembered that I liked it a lot. And the very funny thing, I thought that game all took the thing I remember most about that game was fighting robots in like a cyber city type place, right? That's like that was like all I remembered about that game. I assume that was like a third of the game. That was like a half-hour sequence, and for some reason that was what I thought the entire game was. It is not a long game. It's like probably like a 30-hour JRPG, which is, I know that sounds insane, but that's a short one. Like really, that's a really short one. And that's because this game has a lot of different options and branching paths. They want you to replay it. There's a new Game Plus feature, which back then was pretty novel, all things considered. And you carried stuff over. Chrono Cross is a good game. It's really good. I highly recommend it if you're interested in seeing, like, how do I put this? I talked a little bit about saying like that there was that era of cartoons where it's just like you could get away with doing anything. And this is that era of games where you could get away with doing anything, with making anything, especially for Square Enix making JRPGs in the 90s. They made God knows how many JRPGs. And you end up with this one where it just feels like there was absolutely no oversight of any kind. And it's really cool. It's really awesome. Like every single quest is insane. There is a part of the main story of that game where you have to, like, you're stuck on a boat because the pirate captain is cheating at a roulette wheel, and you have to prove that he's cheating. So you have to go to the stage show down on the lower part of the cruise ship and get a dude to turn you into cats so you can go into a secret hole to break the machine that is using a magnet to rig the roulette wheel, and then you can win the roulette. And there's just a lot of horseshit like that all the time that you have to do as part of the main path. That's like a lot of like, I don't want to say dream logic, but kind of like just like really insane out there ideas, and you just do them. And it's wrapped up in this really creative like thing. It's very of its era in like a lot of ways, where like everything is about like they're talking about climate change, right? In the 90s way that people talked about climate change. There's just a lot of like discussions about like war and things like that. The type of things that would not necessarily be made in a post 9/11 world, let's say. But it's just such a fascinating game. Like there are 45 playable characters or something like that, and they're all insane. Like this isn't like Suikoden where it's like they come up with a character gimmick for all of them, right? Like a basic one. Like this is just insane shit. Like you can get this kid to join your team, but if you didn't do the thing that makes the kid want to join your team, you can get his sister who hates him and his mom who thinks he's lame to join your team. Instead, like just stuff like that. Like you can get like a fucking like alien from space to join your team or whatever, and then like there's just so many stupid insane options for teammates. Like there's a dude that you bring a rare mushroom to in a cave in the first starter dungeon. If you go back later to the first starter dungeon and you have this type mushroom, you give it to this mushroom to this dude, and he's like, "Thank you, it's delicious. This is my favorite mushroom." And then he turned into a mushroom man. And he goes, "I hate you so much. How could you do this to me? I'm going to kill you." And then he joins your team. And it's just like all just these insane things like that like you think of like a Final Fantasy game doing that today, and there's no fucking way, you know, like everything has to be like much more considered, more elaborate. But this one's just like, it feels like at a certain point they were just like sitting in a board meeting like, we need 10 more party members. What do we do? What if it's a fucking mushroom man who hates you? Like stuff like that. Like it's just really cool. And like as a follow-up to Chrono Trigger in general, like it being a weird sequel to Chrono Trigger, and like all the really interesting stuff they do with that instead of just making it a direct sequel is really cool. When it comes to like the remaster itself, the main good thing is that they included the Radical Dreamers, which was like a visual novel that was sort of like their like pitch, I guess, for Chrono Cross to an extent. And that's interesting to see because that's never been in English, and that was cool to read. But really, like, that remaster is probably not very good, all things considered. Like, it is locked to the frame rate it was on the PlayStation 1. Like, most of the time. Sometimes it does go to, like, 100 FPS, and you're, like, shocked, and you're like, wow, I wish the game could run like this all the time. But it is a very lazy port, all things considered. And I do wonder, like, how much better they could have done. Like, I'm sure they could have done better, but, like, I know that Square Enix lost the source code and everything for a ton of games in that big earthquake in, I think, 2008 or something. It was whatever, that the big like earthquake tsunami stuff that happened in Japan. Like they lost a ton of old data on these games. So it really was them like having to basically probably either emulate it. I don't know fully the tech behind this, like either emulate it or try to recreate it from existing data. It's just like, I wonder how different Square Enix remasters would be in a world where they had all that data still, all that, like, all the source stuff. Because I feel like that's sort of what's made them take this lazy path with a lot of stuff. Like those, not the new Pixel remasters, but like the mobile port remakes they were doing for a while with Chrono Trigger and stuff that were really bad.
Right.
And I do wish I could have seen like a fancier Chrono Cross, but also like I don't think Chrono Cross is the type of game that you respect as Square Enix in 2022, if you know what I mean. Like it's such an insane game that could only exist like that game ends with an FMV video of an actress pretending to be, or an actress like portraying one of the characters from Chrono Trigger, walking around like modern Tokyo with like really nice surrealist color scheme. Everything is just like while it plays a vocal track, and it's like, man, this is peak 90s. This is so good. And that's just not something that they would do today. You know, like that's, it's just, it's from an era where everything was allowed to just, people were trying things, you know, and not all of it worked, but it's really fascinating to see what they try. It's a really cool game. If you like JRPGs, I highly recommend checking it out, because it's just like, I do recommend using a guide, because it is a bit confusing, but it's just so like confident in itself in like the most insane way that I respect the hell out of it. It's so cool. And yeah, like I said, I platinumed this game on the PlayStation or whatever. I got the platinum trophy, and that did not take long. Like, I did 3 playthroughs of that game, and once you beat that game once, like, you can burn through it really quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. It has a level system where you only gain levels from beating bosses, so everyone has the same level, which feels like they solved the JRPG problem like years in advance.
Very early, yeah.
Like that was like 1998, 9, something like that. Either way, like, yeah, like, man, it's insane to me. Like, there was a lot of things in that game in general, like the New Game Plus, like that system, like a bunch of the ways that like a lot of the systems interacted with each other. Like, it came out like around the same time as FF8, and it has a better version of FF8 Draw, like the drawing and the magic from people. Like, it's just better, and it's just like, man, they figured out so many things with this, and then they just oh, also, every game needs to have what they have, which is the first this game has like 10 endings you can get. They're all like joke endings besides the main one, because Chrono Trigger did that too. And the first one is a developer room, and it fucking owns. It's just like literally every single member of the development staff gets to pick a random like NPC model and have that be them, and they introduce themselves and say what they did, and then they just say some insane horseshit to you. And that is what every video game needs, for real. Like, there was one where these two dudes basically made themselves be a skeleton and a dragon, and then they just showed each other like beating the shit out of each other, and that was their conversation. Was just this like goes to a fake battle of the dragon beating the shit out of the skeleton. It's just such a it's really cool. It's really cool. It reminded me of like just how passionate people are when they make games, and like seeing this from like a company like Square at that point, like being still this crazy. It's just, it rules. It's such a great piece of history. And I'm glad it's more accessible now, even if the port is
Yeah, my sick fuck thing is that I haven't gotten around to picking it up because I want to get the physical version, but I have to like import it from Asia. So I'm just like
the new one.
When am I going to do that? The Radical Dreamers version. Yeah.
I mean, I would honestly, this would be one of those that I would do that for if I was crazy enough. Like, it's such a unique game that it really does feel like capturing that experience with it, of having a physical version of it, you know, like that.
No, it seems really neat. Like, yeah, I am definitely going to play Chrono Cross eventually, and I mean, I'm also going to play Chrono Trigger eventually, but, you know, that's a whole nother bag of worms, especially because of how expensive the DS version's gotten. But, you know, video games, wanting to be a collector, that's its own problem. That's my problem, not yours. You're just playing them normally. Maverick, do you want to touch on something real quick?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. It's fun to be recording this in the middle of breaking news, if only because there is so much happening, but we'll get there.
Yeah, sure. We can do that next.
Yeah, you know. I think I'll go ahead and touch on Tokyo Xanadu, actually. All I've got to say about Gunvolt 3 really is just tried it out. Hadn't tried Gunvolt before. Seems cool. I might try out the full game now that it is out on release. Hoping that some stuff has been resolved, because on my end, I got a lot of like slowdown specifically for like outside effects. So hoping that doesn't happen in the future. But Tokyo Xanadu is another Nihon Falcom game, the first that I'd actually looked at, but did not try yet. And so it had been sitting just like in my library for a while. And just this past week, I said, let me crack it open. I'm still making my way through the trail stuff. Haven't really touched the East series yet. Xanadu is Falcom's sort of like third or other like series that is often provided like establishment for, in that you have The Legend of Heroes, which also includes the Trail series. Then you have Ys, and then games that are, everywhere and anywhere, but then also included are some of the Xanadu games. And Tokyo Xanadu is a game that is development-wise between the release of Cold Steel 3 and after the release of Cold Steel 2. Like, this came out in 2017. So right around the release schedule for CS3 and where the rest of that series goes. And so you play as this high school student who one night is getting out of a part-time job, and in his way back home, he sees a classmate getting just like tailed by some delinquents. He goes in just like check the situation, and then through some circumstances, oh no, he's in a dungeon and has no idea what's going on. The girl takes care of everything and basically wipes his memory. But the next day, he still feels like there's something going on. He approaches her and is like, hey, did we like meet before? I don't know if we did. And she's just like, oh, that's so silly. By the next time that he goes to his part-time job, his classmate, who is also the childhood best friend type, gets basically attacked by demons all day. She was like, hey, I feel like this weird presence around here. Like, it just feels like I'm getting watched. And so he goes in to save her and finds out he also has the ability to use what's called a soul device, sort of like the Bankai, the weapon that you use to fucking deal with the demons. There's so many analogs here. You can always find an analog. But basically, he and his classmate are now just going through the dungeon to try and rescue his classmate and take care of what's known as greed, the demons that are in this dungeon. The way that it's set up is actually more of a action RPG, and so rather than turn-based combat, you are actually just using a button interfaced for attack. You have a separate button for skills, and then you also have a button for dodging and locking on. And you navigate these dungeons. Anytime that you attack an enemy, they get added to your like bestiary, and you're basically trying to at least combo enemies. And I wouldn't say it's full-on character action. Because of the fact that it is still Nihon Falcom's general like engines in terms of game design, it's a little clunky, but not in a way that it's unplayable. It's more so like, I can't go full Dark Souls with this. However, I do get points for perfect parries. I get no damage for perfect for perfect dodges. Let me lean into that. I can spam my special attack for a bit while I'm like a bit farther away so I don't get hit. Let me work with that. If I can rack up combos based on like elemental damage, and this one is a much more simplified version of like, here's a cycle of who is stronger than who, and then also one net negative attribute. Work from there, build your team up that way so that you're not just like dying immediately. It's interesting. I'd only gotten through the first chapter, and with this game, it seems that it follows the sequence of main chapter, which is free time that your main character has to sort of like go around, figure out side quests, go like interact in the way that Falcom games are famous for in terms of like the density of additional flavor text and just ways that you can interact from a narrative standpoint. And then also includes these side stories. The side story I'm in right now just deals with a unnamed figure going through a dungeon in another part of Tokyo, and it's fucking hard. I'm not gonna lie. I tried getting to it the other day, and I was getting my ass beat by the final boss, and I'm just like, all right, maybe I'm not in the headspace for this now. Let me come back to it at another point. And, you know, it goes to show that I'm so used to the turn-based version of a Falcom game that trying to take that and go with it from an action standpoint, it's not impossible, but it's definitely not my usual bread and butter. I'm very curious to see how Kuro no Kiseki does, since it kind of like juggles between those, but I like it so far. It's a standalone game. It's like the only one, so there's nothing like prior to it or after it. Xanadu is more like a, I guess I would say anthology, like in the same way that the Legend of Heroes were all one series, but only at Trails do you have that single narrative running through it, which is different from, say, another like Legend of Heroes subseries, or the way that like Atelier games get divided between who is actually the primary focus at the time. I'm really eager to get back to it more. I haven't beaten a game in a while, y'all, so I'm at least looking at this as like the opportunity to get into that groove again.
Yeah, no, that's neat. I feel like the Falcom games are something that I really need to sink my teeth into.
John, you'll love them.
Yeah.
Like,
there are so many people who are basically just like, oh, if you love Xenoblade, you will
literally,
love Trails.
that's what I was about to say. Yeah. Literally, like, when you get the chance, just play Trails in the Sky. Like, it's good. It's just good shit. Like, I
still have that really nice Trails of Cold Steel special edition that I picked up from GameStop. I have to hook up my PS3 for that one though, because I did buy the PS3 version, but you know,
it probably runs fine.
Yeah. I mean, I played a little bit of it like ages ago, and it was fine.
It has a hell of a start.
It was a long time.
I remember, because I remember one time when I was using the Gamefly, they sent me Cold Steel once, and I was like, oh fuck, I did not mean to have this on my list. I must have accidentally hit it or something. This was before this was when I was still playing Sky, like years and years ago. And it was just like, oh god, I guess I'll try this. And I opened it up and I was like, okay, I guess I can see how much of this I can play in like a week. And then it was like, that opening was so insane that I was like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah, no, I hated the opening.
It's like, really not good. No, but like I believe in the journey now.
It is literally the beginning like section of Trails of Cold Steel 1 starts you in media res. You're in the middle of something that you'll get to later.
It's insane to do with the systems and everything, but
it is insane. You're getting hit with everything all at once in a way that doesn't feel fun. But then once I got over that hurdle and was at least like, all right, let me, now that I'm starting at the beginning, I'm actually understanding everything. I can get a feel for the combat. Hey, this is maybe the best turn-based combat I've played ever. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. I'm sure the same. I mean, at this point, I'm already bought in, right? But yeah, I'm sure I would have made it past it. But it is such a crazy, crazy opening, especially for the one that they said they wanted to make the most like approachable Trails of the new ones or whatever. It's crazy.
Exactly. But no, that said, like if you're interested in Falcom games, don't know if you're necessarily like in it for the whole turn-based system, I think Tokyo Xanadu is at least a good middle ground, especially if you're also thinking, I'm not really sold on fantasy, because I would also say Ys, but at the same time, those are very much rooted in a specific
they're very
version of fantasy.
Yeah, it's fake. It's all fake fantasy Europe with these very specific ideas, and like, you're going to fight a dragon, stuff like that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like this is what I would say if like, fucking... You liked Persona 5 Strikers.
Like, genuinely, though, like, it is very much exactly like that game.
Again, the combat might give you some time to, like, get adjusted to, but also your main character has, like, a fucking, like, gauntlet chainsword.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Like, I'm thinking about that, because I'm like, all right, what's everyone's archetype gonna be? The karate best friend has, like, the gauntlets or whatever. There's a spear. What's this guy? And it's like, oh wait, no, that's actually pretty baller. I like the perspective that you went with this. Actually, you shut my ass up.
My wife just recently got back into it because she's on like the second to last chapter, and she stopped like a year ago or something, or like a couple of years ago. And she was
my
like,
God.
I want to finish it now. It took a little bit for her to get back into it, but again, like she got back into it and she was doing pretty well. Like it seems like a just fun game to play. Like I like all the horse shit that was happening was very entertaining. I think like it wasn't like crazy or anything, but it was just like fun things like, wow, the lake froze. Like we need to figure out what happened in this. Oh, we solved it. And then like all of the NPCs after that, because the thing with Falcom is they update like all the dialogue of all the NPCs and like all of their games all the time.
Yeah, so like they will say like, okay, if a big event happens, realistically, people are going to hear about it. So how does that, like in each stage of the narrative, how does everyone react? Even if it's just like, you go from, I love shopping here at the shop to, it's hard to shop here at the shop now that the darkness happened.
Yeah, and it was just like every single dialogue changing to be like, man, don't go to the fucking lake, okay? That shit's weird. Don't like it. Like, just having that sort of like reactive world is really good. That's what makes Xenoblade good, right? Like, that's what we love about Xenoblade 3. Like, just great stuff.
All right. Let's hit that news. So, the big news that just dropped before we did this. Excuse me. The big news that just dropped right before this was a big old clarification about the Helena Taylor Bayonetta stuff that we talked about last week. It was pretty strange. We were all kind of like, there's got to be something more to this, and there sure is, and it's really disappointing. So Helena Taylor came out with a video this morning and just straight up said, "Hey, I turned down doing Bayo 3 because after negotiations and everything, their final offer was to pay me $4,000 in total to play Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3.
And not just play Bayonetta, because this is a multiverse game. Play like 8 Bayonettas or something also. Like,
yeah, she's going to be playing like multiple characters here, and $4,000 total. Which is fucking insane. Like, some of us don't grasp money very easily here. So, first off, that is equivalent to selling about 60 copies of the game, which, it's going to sell way more than 60 copies. It's like Bayonetta was never a gigantic franchise. Like, it's a bigger one, but it's not like, a Mario or a Grand Theft Auto or anything. Don't get it twisted. But it's going to sell way more than 60 copies.
$4,000 is about what I make in, say, like 2 months. But then that's also the fact that can also cover, like, or just under what I make. But also that's about 4 months of rent if you're lowballing what rent can be.
Yeah.
For some cases, it's 2.
Yeah, and so, like, some other voice actors are coming out and talking about their issues, which, the similar thing happened with Kyle McCarley and the Mob Psycho voice actor replacement that happened a couple weeks ago. Like, for example, Sean Chiplock, who is a pretty prolific voice actor himself, who was Rivali and I think a couple of other characters in Breath of the Wild, pretty much just said, yeah, I got paid like $3,000 for all the work that I did in Breath of the Wild, which, he definitely did like less overall work than Helena would have done, because like Rivali's not like a main character. He's not like, I mean, even main characters in that game didn't talk that much, but still, huge game. Zelda, that is a AAA game. That is a huge game, and he got paid less than what Helena Taylor was getting offered. And basically said, like, yeah, like, I got paid a way more for doing Freedom Planet because I got royalties. And, people are also bringing up, like, Sean Schemmel getting paid way more for doing, like, Paw Patrol because he got royalties from that than for doing Goku. Like, fucking Goku. So, this is just bringing up a lot of problems with voice acting and the pay that goes to this kind of business, because like it's something that's extremely important but is being very disrespected. And, you know, I guess to clarify a few things, we should also point out, like, you know, Jennifer Hale getting brought on for this. She probably got paid more than Helena did, or would have been. But, like, also, you know, you look at, you know, there's people calling Jennifer Hale a scab here, and, like, she's union. Like, they probably would have had to have gotten a union contract for this, or at the very least, she would have, you know, had union sway to figure out her contract. And also, a lot of the times when you're signing up for these jobs, you don't know what you're signing up for until you show up and you start reading the script, because there's all these NDAs and all this other stuff that goes, you know, like, there is the valid point that they don't want voice actors leaking what they're working on, but there's also the valid point of, you know, if you don't know what you're auditioning for, you can't ask for more money, because, hey, asking for more money would be really reasonable for Bayonetta, like one of the most, you know, recognizable characters in the character action scene. So,
or just games in general, honestly. Like,
I was going to say,
it's not like a huge game. It's still very well known. Like, that specifically, Bayonetta. For the portrayal. Like,
so I have a friend who, you know, is citing, at least from prior work with Platinum and just other game studios, just the fact that, you know, you hear $4,000 and no royalties, that's like the norm, which sucks and should be something that's like pushed against already. And I definitely don't disagree with that. But at the same time, it's like ultimately we're in this setup where more questions are being raised, because you look at the rest of the voice cast. Not only do you have Jennifer Hale on board, but then you also have Yuri Lowenthal, who has been with the series as long as Helena Taylor in the role of Luca. You have right now Jean as well, Ray Delisle, and all these other voice actors who are around, like union or non-union. It's just a matter of seeing, you know, we still don't really know the reason. Or rather, you know, the reason is that someone is being lowballed. Does that necessarily mean, okay, you know, we're going to do this deliberately to get Taylor out of the project and bring someone else in? Is it just the expected rate for someone that is non-union versus what a union contract is trying to get in the same boat? It's difficult, and ultimately, I still just feel bad for Helena Taylor and the fact that it still is leaving here with the short end of the stick. And also, shut the fuck up, Hideki Kamiya.
Yeah. He always needs to do that. Not just like, it's just like fucking him and Harada. It's just like, wow, it's so cool that you're just an asshole. Like, everyone just like rewards them for it. Like, says that it's funny that they're just dickheads to everyone all the time. Like,
Harada at the very least, like, so okay. I think he does cross the line sometimes, but I think Harada is not on the same level as Kamiya.
No.
Like, Harada needs to fucking get his head out of his ass and admit that rollback netcode is something that needs to happen. But, like, at the same time, though, he does actually, like, interact with fans positively at all. And, you know, he has his, like, talk show where he does talk pretty candidly about some stuff, which is nice. But, you know, Kamiya is he just seems like an absolute asshole. Like, especially here, because, you know, like, it's one thing to be like, oh, you're talking out of your ass, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm gonna block you, which is, like, how he was initially, but just over time, like, he's just straight up is just like, yeah, if you speak English to me, I'm blocking you, even though he tweets in English, and, you know, is now just trying to block everyone who's, you know, like, coming at him, and even tweeting at him in Japanese, like, hey, you know, this looks bad. Do you have something you can say? And, you know, he's just blocking everyone instead of saying anything. Like, he's being an absolute prick about it. And yeah, he's being extremely childish here.
This isn't someone. This isn't someone.
He's treating this with the same candor as someone being like, I know how to make video games better than you, you know? And it's like, no, you're being shitty to your workers, dude. Like, that's your fucking problem here.
Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm sorry that for a majority of your career, you were in charge of projects that got slighted and, like, fucking put to the side. Yeah, I'm a big fan of what Clover's put out. I'm a big fan of God Hand and shit. I know you didn't work on that, but whatever. I know you worked on Resident Evil 2. You are a head of a business. Grow the fuck up and actually, put some foresight in. Like, Helen Taylor reached out to you personally and asked, what does this look like? And you've said, and she can quote, like, oh, I really treasure the experience of working with, like, you as Bayonetta. And that means something regardless of whether or not it's just through, like, word of, like, letter or whatever. Like, it sucks. And for this to come out literally weeks before the actual release of the game, it's just like, it's stupid. It sucks for Helena Taylor. It's stupid the way that people are actually taking care of it. And I'm just here thinking, like, what is there to gain out of any of this? Outside of just also recognizing the fact that people who work in voiceover for games deserve so much more for what they're being paid to do.
Yeah, I don't know how the dubbing works entirely, like what agencies they're using and stuff like that. But I will say, like, a big part of this is, like, and I feel like is missing from a lot of the conversation, is like, this is Nintendo's fault too. Like, they're the publisher, like, they're the financier for this game. Like, I
mean, I think that's the thing as well, where people see publisher and go, "Oh, they're just in charge of ad work."
With it. Yeah,
which already the ad work for Bayonetta 3 was already laughable.
Yeah, it's just like. Especially,
it's a real shitty situation.
Yeah, I think just like this specifically be happening like immediately. Like, obviously, there's been a lot of stuff about voice acting happening recently, but this, like, I just wish this would make someone talk about Nintendo stuff more. Just because it's like, this is coming right off of them being like, yeah, like, people genuinely saying like, oh, Chris Pratt needs to be Mario because you need a real human being to do Mario, like, completely devaluing what Charles Martinet has done, like, saying that that's not a real voice actor, that's a joke, like, stuff like that. Like, just the way that, like, people just don't value this stuff at all. It's like, but also it's like, this conversation specifically is very frustrating for me because it's like, you're seeing people also discredit, like, game developer work with this conversation. Like, people just saying, like, immediately, like, yeah, delay Bayonetta and put this voice acting. Like, it's just like, Platinum is not a company that makes games, like, with an excess budget.
Their last game, published out by Platinum as a standalone studio, was a shoot 'em up.
Yeah, a really like low key shoot 'em up. Yeah,
Nier Automata was worked with through Square Enix as the publisher. Babylon's Fall, for all of the dog shit that's included with it, was another Square Enix publication.
Like, yeah, Square Enix, like. All of their recent games before that, Activision, they never, like, self-publish anything. Like, they are working. There's a lot of, you can see a lot of documentary stuff that they've created to talk about this stuff from, like, 2016, 2017. So who knows how much of that is true today? Because I know NetEase has a big stake in them, I think, these days.
I believe Sega is also, like, a rights holder for some things, including Bayonetta, including
Nintendo did buy that all the way, I think, from them, I believe, recently.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that Sega has, like, any kind of rights to anymore is, like, Bayonetta 1.
Vanquish?
And,
yes, and those two get
Vanquish and all that, but yeah. I just meant, like, specifically for Bayo. Like, they like, put, like, that's why Bayonetta 1 can be on, like, other consoles, but 2 and 3 are just Nintendo, because Nintendo bought the whole rights to that.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, yeah, like, this is the type of thing where it's like, I feel like the conversation is being directed at Platinum, and, like, rightfully so to an extent, because they should have pushed in some cases for this. But there's, like, a lot of levels to this of, like, this is a Japanese studio. Like, they are, delegating this work to someone else to do, basically. And this just strikes me so much as, like, either someone at Nintendo or someone who was in charge of the dubbing stuff was like, we need a better voice for this. We need a bigger name or something like that. That's what picking Jennifer Hale specifically says to me. Like, it just feels like
it's a Chris Pratt kind of thing.
It just feels like such a, like, we need a real voice actor type bullshit. Like, that's just what that feels like. Because, like, again, like you list all these names for these other people who are coming back. Again, they are known people. Like Helen Taylor, I don't think she does any other voice acting in video games. Does she? To look it up.
I have to look it up, but nothing that's like
nothing like on the level of fucking
Bayonetta.
You know, not even just like on the level of the Yuri Lowenthal's games bullshit. Like, yeah, Bayonetta is the only game she does. I looked it up. And it's like, yeah, like, I get it. Like, this is just, it's just stupid. It's just like,
she was in a few other small things,
but like mostly
that she was in like Dragon Age Origins as like a small character. But yeah, this is her biggest thing,
and all of that was like a long time ago too. Like,
right, yeah.
And it's just like the lack of respect is really what it comes down to. And I wish more people would appreciate this respect. But it's like seeing it directed entirely at Platinum is driving me insane because it's like I doubt. Like the way that all of this is structured, extremely like them saying last week, like that, oh, she was busy or whatever. That reads to me 100% as the dubbing agency told her that she was busy. That's what that reads me as. Like that doesn't read to me as Platinum was like going like, yeah, she was busy, all right, or something like that. Like a lot of people are saying, like it really reads to me like there was communication failure somewhere and someone fucked up, like genuinely, and
yeah.
They should have been on that because they should have cared more about this performance. But like, also like at a certain point, you have to go like, hey, maybe if Nintendo is giving them the budget to do something like that, that's like, or Nintendo is limiting the budget specifically in a way that they would make a decision like that. That's just fucking dumb.
And Nintendo might have some kind of like deal with Jennifer Hale too, because like, yeah, she voices Samus in a lot of stuff. She has worked with Nintendo previously, so she might have some kind of contract that made it like quote unquote easier to get her in.
It just feels like such a prestige grab, that type of.
Well, that too.
Like it just feels like they just were like, yeah, we want a name, and like especially with just like the shit with Bayonetta being like a multiverse thing, like I said, like that in general also just feels like this is the prestige grab. Like we're going for more real, like big name, like we're doing the big stuff now, like.
Yeah. When it's gonna still be niche. Like,
yeah, it's not going to be a big game. Like, it's going to sell like maybe 2 million copies in 3 years or something.
Like it's gonna sell well, but it's not gonna be Mario, Zelda level.
And there's just no reason to.
It's a hard character action game, It's not gonna be mainstream. It's a dumb fucking thing all around. Like. So Helena Taylor did say that she wanted folks to boycott the game and instead spend that money on charity. Do what you will. I'm not gonna say, because there is of course the argument that like boycotting isn't really gonna change anything because hey, fucking the higher ups. They're not going to see, oh, these people are supporting this voice actress. They're going to see, oh, they didn't like this game. Let's not make Bayonetta 4.
Again, like that's the communication breakdown, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the main thing here, like, specifically that we see, like, is like, this is a, like, multinational endeavor, multilingual endeavor. Like, this is, and when you have stuff like that happen, communication breakdown happens constantly because someone says something slightly wrong or someone, like, expresses something in like a way that's very casual and like easy to do in a work email, but then like the other people interpret it completely differently. And that's just like, it happens with this shit all the time. There's a ton of stuff that happens with like Falcom we were just talking about. Like that happened constantly with the Trails localizations. Like,
yeah, like, and something even similar with Nintendo, like there was that controversy that happened like a couple of weeks ago where like Kit and Krista, who used to do Nintendo videos, said that they wanted to do a Nuzlocke. And so they like contacted people at Nintendo, and Nintendo Japan were basically like, they took that instead of it being like, oh, here's this self-imposed challenge that is what a Nuzlocke is. They probably heard that and thought they were going to use like, hardcore randomizer mods and like, do all kinds of like, ROM hack shit. And they turned them down. And so, there was this anger on both sides of being like, oh, well, they're not playing Pokemon the right way. And also, oh yeah, well, of course, they're going to shut down any kind of creativity when, it probably was a miscommunication where they like legit were just like, no, we're not going to let you do ROM hacks on a Nintendo channel. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, like, yeah, it was probably a miscommunication. It's just because later on, like, other people got in contact with Nintendo and asked them about it, and they were like, yeah, no, like, play it however you want. We don't care, you know, as long as you're not hacking the game. Like, sure. Which, like, of course that's what they're going to say. And yeah, I mean, you know, like, there's even ways that they have acknowledged ROM hacks in the past. Like, I'm pretty sure there was like a Twitch Plays Pokemon reference in one of the like recent games. You know, like, they just can't do it on the official channel. And, you know, also at the same time, like, I was thinking of like just something that I thought about with this particular thing was like, I was thinking like, yeah, they probably also don't want to have like people like implying that your Pokemon are dying on the channel, or showing some kind of like, oh, your Pokemon failed where you have to release them kind of thing officially, because Pokemon are supposed to be your friends, you know, like that kind of thing. But that is besides the point. The point is that, yeah, there's a lot of miscommunication with this sort of thing, especially with different languages, especially with like a language like Japanese, where, you know, you look at how shit gets translated back and forth and it's a complete mess.
It's
like,
a very contextual, like, I mean, all languages are contextual, but like with Japanese, it's such a thing where it's like, as someone who has done a little bit of it, it's like, you don't know what a sentence means until the end. And it's like, if you fuck up any part of that, you can just say something completely different. And it's just like,
yeah,
I 100% believe that would happen in a case like this. Like, and it's like, again, that's not an excuse. It's just a reason, right? Like, it's still insane that they wouldn't go to bat or like care enough about something like this, like to do stuff. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on at Platinum. Like, they used to really feel like they were on the ball with like understanding like games and like how to make games and all this other stuff. And it feels like ever since Nier Automata, it's just been going downhill. Like, I don't know.
I mean, again, like you have that narrative of this is the studio built on the back of a studio built on the back of a studio. This succession of knowing what failure is like, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then still coming by to make something that people want. Like, it's the fact that you start from a punk perspective, but then ultimately it wraps back around to being part of the status quo.
Like them fucking like the whole thing, like Platinum comes from the Clover closure, and it's just like, and now you're just doing the same thing to someone else. Like, literally, like you're just doing the same thing again.
And, you know, it's a real big shame that this all comes in the wake of, you know, what would have been a pretty interesting release. I don't think anything has been talking about it, but Nintendo is going to come out with a brand new Switch set for the upcoming season. If you want to go ahead, you can go ahead and Google Yuzu Nintendo Switch. That would be something that you could look into and, you know, get a bit more information about. That's Yuzu, Y-U-Z-U, Nintendo Switch, and get some more information. Inform yourself. But also, seriously, like, regardless of the stance that you take, you don't have to tell on yourself on Twitter. I see so many people going, man, this sucks. I can't believe that this happened to you. I'm still going to buy the game, though. Like,
you don't have to say that. No one needs to
know.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. No one needs to know.
Yeah. It's
earnestly, if you have an interest in playing, like, truthfully, earnestly, because so many people were on board for this game. So many people love this series. They love what it stands for. Like, 2009, Bayonetta already had enough discourse around it just based on the reality of, like, the source and the, like, theming of the game that I'm glad we have at least been able to, like, grow out of and at least translate into other forms. But right now, like, if you're someone that genuinely cares about the series and is conflicted by what's going on, you know, just find other ways to take care of this. Secondhand or used game sales do not necessarily attribute to sales to the primary, like, developer and publisher. And also, real talk, at least consider waiting until the end of this fiscal year. But if other alternatives are not there, but also you don't have to just say it. Like,
it's very
it costs
performative.
You nothing.
Yeah.
It costs you nothing.
I will say, like, I do agree with John also to an extent, though, of, like, realistically, like, yeah, the boycott will just tell them that, like, yeah, Nintendo doesn't need to make any more Bayonettas, which is bad in its own right. It's a real, like, hellish situation. And it's just, like, I think the best thing that can happen is that people who are like streamers, stuff like that, who are going to stream the game, if they take that space to stream the game and talk about these issues, that is like probably the best thing that can come out of something like that. Like using what people are going to go and look for gameplay of this regardless, right? Like people are going to watch their streamers, they're going to do this stuff. If that can be a space to educate people about all of these issues and talk about it, and then get more people talking about it, generate enough of a conversation continually over time, that would be the best possible thing.
Yeah, like you know what would be nice is like they make Bayonetta 4 and bring her back on for it. Like, yeah, that would be the correct thing for them to do. It's just crazy
seeing how much of this happens. Like, not even just recently. Like, I was just thinking the other day about with regards to this, literally back when it was thought to just be like she was busy. Like, they just fucking got rid of David Hayter for Snake just to get Kiefer Sutherland, like the Chris Pratt ass type thing. Like, just, it's so weird. And that, like, man, it's just so weird seeing like just the complete lack of respect for like these people who are so passionate, right? Like voice actors are so passionate about everything. Like you see the fucking,
he fucking loves being Snake.
He loves being Snake. Like the 2B woman's out there every day. Like,
yeah, I watched like videos where it was like a Did You Know Gaming, like a big roundup of stuff that they translated about Metal Gear games. And they got David Hayter on it to like do the narration, and like he fucking slips into doing a Snake voice like all the time just because like he loves to do it. Like, you know, he's just hanging out, he loves being Solid Snake. Like voice actors are some of the most passionate people when it comes to this thing. And like, yeah, like they should be getting paid better, because I'm sure they'll be even more excited to do it. And like, you know, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that people are talking about, like, you know, like anime translators and all that. Like, it is a passionate thing, and their passion is getting taken advantage of instead of being rewarded. And that's a huge shame. Like, these people should be getting paid well enough to live and not cast to the side when you get the chance to, you know, have some fancy schmancy Hollywood guy come in and do it when they're not going to do it as well. Like, you know, like, I think a lot about how much people talk shit about David Hayter's performance in MGS4 as Old Snake, because they're like, oh, he sounds so gross, he sounds so bad. And it's like, he's fucking dying in that game. Like, Snake is on, like, he's got like 2 months to live. Like, and then like you listen to him in like fucking Peace Walker and shit, and he's just doing the Snake voice. Like, it's fine. Like, but nobody fucking acknowledges that. They just bring up, oh, you know, they probably replaced him in 5 because he sounded like shit in 4. Like, that was the fucking direction they went with. That wasn't like that wasn't his voice giving out or anything. Like,
yeah. That also requires people to play Peace Walker. However, I will say that, like, in that case, they should, yeah. But you know, in that case, even in regard to 4, when spoilers for fucking Metal Gear Solid 4, I guess you weren't going to watch it anyway. Big Boss comes out at the end, and he is already voiced by somebody else. There is at least the perspective of that, and ultimately, I don't mind the idea of differentiating them. However, it's about how you come across that. How you actually go about with these negotiations. If someone was able to like be upfront to Helena Taylor and say, hey, we're thinking about working with someone else and going forward with another voice actor, it sucks, but that is at least a negotiation and an opportunity to say, like,
it's honest.
It's honest. Because she also says, like, she recorded 3 separate videos discussing the entire process, and she says, like, you know, they had her audition again, and she passed with no issue. And it's really frustrating the way that, I mean, right now, everyone is understandably upset having to find some way to, like, talk about this. I think literally as we speak also, Hideki Kamiya just got his account restricted. So who knows if there's somebody literally, like, tackling him over at Platinum right now and trying to, like, at least assuage some of these fires. I have no idea anymore, but this sucks. Really do just want to put my support forward for Helena Taylor. You know, even if your perspective is, oh, the scripts themselves don't really have a lot of meat to them, and like there's already not there. She was probably already getting paid like pennies to do the work for Bayo 1 and 2. Sure. However, like, ultimately, I think letting this be another example of a general push forward to have more compensation for the people that do the parts of game design that people love. As it is already difficult for game designers to still have any sort of protection as it is working on the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
Also, don't make your whole personality about blocking people.
So I think this would actually be a good segue into another bit of news here, because something similar also with Nintendo was going on here. And we'll just go ahead and say, this is a good step towards fixing these sorts of issues. So Nintendo was being there was a union busting complaint against Nintendo recently with regards to a playtester who got fired earlier this year. Nintendo tried to say that she broke NDA, but it was because there were talks of forming a union with the playtesters. A lot of a lot of things that have been said recently about the playtesters. I've heard some things that have been true, some things that may have been fixed in the past. I can't really talk too in depth for some of the stuff that I've heard, but yeah, like there's a frustration with the people that work there, because it sounds like it is a pretty good job, but they are hired on a freelancer aspect, not a full-time gig. So they don't have a lot of, like, your health insurance and other forms of insurance. And oftentimes in between games, you just basically get let go until they bring you back for another game, and you don't even know for sure if you're going to come back. So that is an extremely frustrating aspect to that. But the playtester who was fired, Mackenzie Clifton, won the union busting complaint, got paid $25,910 for that, and Nintendo was required to post notice of the settlement as well as information about forming a union in their offices, as well as sent out via email, which is a real win, I would say. That is a big ol' 1-2 punch against them. I don't really know too much about any form of union formation in Nintendo, especially with their playtesters. But
I mean,
hey,
their whole thing with Nintendo, I mean, that whole space up in Washington in general, like, it's all contract work, right? They get away with just doing really insane contract work stuff.
Yeah, and I will say that, like, there is a bit of an offhandedness to it too, because Nintendo isn't even, like, fully running the contracts for these. They have, like, an outside company that handles these contracts.
Yeah. That's But it's like,
there's middlemen involved. But then
they
like,
get involved with union busting and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, like, they should just not have this middleman group and just fucking pay their
just hire people.
And,
it's fine.
Yeah,
you could just hire people. You can afford it. I promise you can afford it, Nintendo. I promise.
And like I said, like, these people are sticking around. Like, it's not like
they want to be there.
Yeah, because, like, but what I mean specifically is they, for the most part, aren't just, like, hiring people, having them do one job and then firing them. They are keeping people around. They just don't want to give them full benefits, and that is the shitty part. Like, they are just skirting around having them be full-time employees instead of just, having them on as full-time and, giving them the rights that they deserve. So yeah, I feel similarly with the Helen Taylor stuff that I do with this, is that, they are very obviously in the wrong. There is a public outcry against it. Like, this here was less public because it is more, like, about playtesters instead of someone more public facing, like a voice actor. But I mean, there was a lot of push against it, and I think, like, for as many people that are being like, hey, you know, Helena Taylor sucks for her, we're going to push back against it. Like, I think a lot of people who are playtesters for Nintendo are going to look at this and they're going to see, yeah, we can push for this because this is realistic now. You know, this is that they were punished for not letting us look into this. So let's look into this. So, you know, as much as I love Nintendo games, I hope this blows up in their face, and I hope that they are that unions are birthed from this.
Yeah, I hope it carries over to other places around there as well, because it's like, you read about
like
the stuff that
other studios,
343, same shit, right? Like, it's just like Halo sucks because they just keep hiring contract workers, and then the contract workers leave because it's insane to hire contract workers on the fees that you're paying them. Like, you're giving them nothing, and then you don't have reliable talent around because nobody wants to be there because you're just hiring people who are desperate over and over again. And it's a real problem with, I think, most industries, but especially with like games industries right now. We're going to reach this point where there are basically no veterans in the AAA gaming space in, I would say, even 5 years. Like, we're going to reach a point very quickly where no one knows how to do anything. A ton of stuff will just switch to being on Unreal Engine 5 just because that is an engine that, you know, your experience with it can translate better across things. And that was already something that was happening a while ago, but it's like, that's going to be the thing that happens. Like, you look at how much Naughty Dog bled recently. Like, you look at how much Bungie's bled recently. Like, people aren't sticking around. And it's just like, I don't know why you wouldn't just want to make normal positions. Like, it just, I guess because it's the easy way, right? Like, this is the easy exploitative way, but
it's interesting. And I mean, I don't know if y'all mind, but this actually kind of leads into something else I kind of wanted to bring up.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, originally, like, I kind of had this tacked on as part of, like, I had just played a little bit more House and Fata Morgana, had gotten through I've gotten through, like, the second door. The visual novel is split up into different doors, each containing a different narrative, and so finally got around to finishing that one up. I believe I am now closer to finishing the game itself, and can't wait for that. That said, it also had me curious because just this past week, my friend and former Waypoint, or writer for Motherboard, Gita Jackson, they actually got brought in for a talk over at the NYU Game Center and brought up this discussion about the way that people often say games shouldn't be movies, and how, in a broader sense, it comes into this discussion of what is a game, what is a movie. This debate of interactivity in relation to art, where, you know, to an extent, all art is interactive. The way that you are basically providing your own experience in order to create or express meaning out of something, be it a medium, be it a representation of something else. Like, basically having that innate reaction of, I see this or I experience this, therefore I have something to speak on it, is a view of interactivity. But it also leads into just the way that there is a want overall for game studios and video games as a medium to be recognized as quote-unquote art and analogous to film. But at the same time, there are factors that differ between the two, one of which, very glaringly, is the reality of unionization and representation for labor in the game space versus the film space. Film space can definitely be better about it. However, at the same time, you know, up until recently, antitrust laws were established. Unions are established for various folks that are a part of it. It's not just screen actors, but also people who are working behind the scenes, people who are a part of, like, cinematography and whatnot. VFX artists should be added into that fold as well. That is more so an argument about, you know, not an argument, but just like the reality of evolution of spaces and the way that definitions need to expand to better fit those. But, you know, overall, I'm just curious. I think now is a good point as ever. Like, in this discussion of games as just a medium, what are the efforts that we still need to see made in order to really have that stake nowadays.
Yeah, it's like the way that, I don't know, I guess it's just because games as an industry exists in the post-Reagan world, right? Comparatively. Mm-hmm. And it being a newer art form means that people are just immediately already coming in on the ground level as drank the Kool-Aid of unions are bad. But it's just, I think like that is sort of what the thing I keep thinking of with regards to the Bayonetta situation is it's like, this is just a pervasive problem in games in general. Like with auteur culture and everything, especially in games, like that's a problem in movies too, but it's like, at least in the case of the movies, like there are these unions to help people get paid correctly. And just in games, the way that like everyone except the company name is just fucked, basically. Like, you're a developer, you're probably not getting paid what you deserve for this game. Like, you're a voice actor, you're definitely not getting paid what you deserve for your work on this game. You're an artist, all these things, all of these different facts that come into making a game, which is the most complex of, like, I'm not going to say like it's like the most like, it is a very complex undertaking compared to literally any other art form right now. Like, you have to get in with music, you have to get in with sound, you have to get in with visual, you have to get in with the experience of playing it, all of these different parts of it. And the way that people are trying to dilute that, I don't know how to express it. Basically, they need to stop trying to be movies if they don't want to be, like, while working in this way. Like, they need to stop being movies in general, but this idea that games need legitimacy through being, like, something else rather than, like, being themselves and just gaining what makes those other things successful along the way, like, it just drives me crazy.
Like, when often people talk about games as movies, it's this shorthand for, I do not like the way that AAA developers in games are sort of diluting and turning the experience of playing a video game into a big name, big studio film, which nowadays follows a specific formula, follows a specific narrative, and goes beat by beat by beat. One could argue the Breath of the Wild Ubisoft Waypoint adventure game is as analogous to a Marvel movie in terms of the way that there is such a propinquity of the two, and also a level at which that becomes the only way you can sort of sell an idea. And like, there's also this discussion overall about the idea that when it comes to video games, the term outsider art isn't really used, even though there are definitely spaces that fit the, like, definition of outsider art spaces. Itch.io is definitely one of those spaces that I can think about where, regardless of whether or not you are selling a game for profit or making it as part of a contribution towards charity, like, you see games there that do not really propagate most anywhere else, if only because it is at least a space that allows for more open-endedness on what can be a game, rather than trying to, like, delineate this is not a game.
Yeah, the fixation on, like, this idea of an absolute legitimacy is just,
yeah,
it's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
I mean, to at least round it back out, it makes me think about the way that nowadays visual novels get such a, like, slight upon.
Right. It's like, it's not a real game, or it's not
a real game, or, like, all a visual novel ever is you click on a scene until you get to make a choice and fuck somebody at the end of the novel, which is not the case. And with my experience in Fata Morgana, I'll definitely say, like, oh no, like, visual novels rock. Probably one of my top favorite games so far, and by the time that I finish it, one of the best games I'll have ever played.
You have, I don't want to say too much, but you're like maybe a quarter of the way through the game.
Okay, that's interesting.
But I will look forward to seeing what you think as you continue to play it.
Definitely. And, yeah, it's like this week, definitely. I think if there is a theme to just what someone can take away, it's sort of just realizing that regardless of the actual evolution of the space that you inhabit when it comes to creating your art, if it is not helping out everyone to be at a level of satisfaction and, safety and security, then question that. Think about what can change. Consider the ways that if there is this want of legitimacy, what does legitimacy look like? Does a does a Last of Us TV show necessarily mean that we made it, quote unquote, as a company? Fucking no, not as a company, but as a
medium,
like institution. Or, say, can we be in a space where entire outlets and verticals don't need to be cut out because they aren't meeting SEO standards? Can the people who create these games that we enjoy be able to get the time in order to work on games and not be rushed to do so at a specific cycle, be able to have the resources to not just make things on whatever is easiest and feel legitimized and trying to explore outside of that norm, and also, I don't know, just be allowed to fail. Be allowed to create something that doesn't necessarily resonate with everyone, but still can allow for the means to do something that isn't just a guaranteed success for profit margins.
Yeah, there's this real focus on the idea of legitimacy through money when it doesn't matter. Fucking, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Fuck The Last of Us. That's what I'm going to say. Just look at the way he erased, like, everyone else who worked on The Last of Us. And now The Last of Us TV series is from The Last of Us by Neil Druckmann. Like, that is the problem with games right now. Genuinely. That right there.
Well, jeez, it feels weird just kind of going right to it. So, hey, what else did you play?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how we do it on the podcast. Rose, do you want to talk about the other games that you played, and then we could just like whip through the rest of the news?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe not whip, but we'll go through the rest of the news.
Yeah, sure. So like low key thing that I've been doing is going back into Genshin Impact because I play this game like I wouldn't say a normal person, but I take it really easy. I basically play like I play for like a couple weeks and then I take a break for like 6 months. Basically, is how I treat this game, because you can take it at your own pace, despite what the game and the players would lead you to believe. It is fundamentally still an open world game that is very linear almost in the way that you can approach it, because it has a main story, it has all these different things. It's a very goal oriented game in a way that you can choose to just, take a break. And I wish that was it was a real game, because if it was a real game and not a gacha game, I know that we just talked about not talking about real games, but you know what I mean? Like, if it was a less monetized game, if it was a traditional format, there we go. That's a better way to put it. If it was in the traditional format, I think it would be one of the best games, because it is so well considered. They have great insight into their lore and everything. They have fun with their character writing. They have fun with a lot of stuff. Like, they come up with all these interesting puzzles and unique situations and leverage being a game, and it's good. But it's a fucking gacha game. So it has to have all of these, like, Skinner box type systems to just make you keep playing over and over again. But if you can ignore that stuff, Genshin's great. And that's pretty much all I can say about it. But what I've been really playing is Library of Ruina, which is a card game. Yeah, it's just a card game. It's a card game visual novel type thing about this, like, it's sort of like so Lobotomy Corporation is the game that came out before it, and by the same people, and that one is like an SCP management sim, where you're managing, like, basically the SCP Foundation or whatever from creepypasta lore. This is an extension of that, where it's like, all right, this is what happened afterwards, and it's this idea that you're basically in a library, which is like a creepypasta place, sort of, where it's like.
So
yeah,
real quick, I'm pushing up my glasses right now.
Oh, here we go.
So
SCPs aren't creepypasta. Is that what you're gonna say?
No. That's not what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say the reason why it's in. Yeah, The reason why it's in a library is because in the SCP universe, there is like a kind of like spin-off thing where it's basically like, you know how there's like, you know, like a lot of like multiverse things have like a sort of a hub where like all the multiverses connect. Yeah, well, there's a place called the Wanderer's Library in the SCP
okay, that's
universe.
very much
that
what
is
this
that.
is then,
Yeah.
Were you going to say something, Maverick?
Oh no, I was just making a joke there.
But yeah, this thing basically, it's this thing where it's like it's in a like cyberpunk. I would say Korea, yeah, because the developers are Korean, I believe. Let me double check that before I say something that is completely wrong. But it's in the cyberpunk world, basically, where it's like, you know, everyone has to be a mercenary to an extent. And like everything's divided into caste system. It is Korean. Okay. Yeah. So it's like cyberpunk Korea. And it's really cool because it's like a combination of cyberpunk and creepypasta ideology of like, we're going to create fucked up monsters. We're going to create horror situations, all this stuff or whatever. But it's really just about this dude who accidentally wanders into this library, and this lady is like, all right, like I could kill you or you could help me do my plan or whatever. And gradually figuring out what that plan is and how it relates to the world. And it has a really cool format where it's like basically you invite people to the library because you turn them into books by like fighting them through these card games. And the idea is like you're beating these people so that you can get their books, which contain all of their knowledge, so that then the people inside the library can learn more about the outside world and figure out what they want to do with it. And so you're just like, you start out like inviting like really low key people, but then like obviously like the rumors spread like a creepypasta type thing. And then like, it's like, oh, then you're inviting more large scale people, and it gets into like talking about the government systems and stuff. It has like this really good petered out world building where it's like every battle you do, you're getting a snippet of something about this world. Like you're inviting like these people from this district, and you learn about this district. And then that relates to a conversation that the characters will have about this district, because some of the characters are from different sections of this world. And it's really interesting in that respect. I love the story. Like the aesthetics are great. It has a great art style, very distinctive. And they go all the way with it where like they have like every single battle is against new, uniquely designed people. Every single one. It's insane. Like wow. I have done like, I would say probably like something like 40 different battles, all of them completely different people with different outfits and everything. Like there's so much effort put into the art design segment of this game. And like also all those people have a story, right? Because they have to have a reason they're fighting you or whatever, or they have to have a reason to exist in this world. And that's really the main thing that's good about their world building, is like everything has a purpose, right? Like, even if it's just mundane, even if their life is to be thrown away, like it has a purpose because they are a person in this world. And that like feeds into their narrative that they're going into over time, because a lot of the characters are robots. So you can imagine what sort of narrative's going there. But it's really fascinating story. The problem is I hate card games. They're just not for me. I respect the medium immensely. But this one in particular is a very like it does not have a great tutorial. It has a problem where you don't get a lot of like good or interesting cards, or like cards that have like builds behind them until you're like way past the tutorial of the game. So you struggle for a really long time, and eventually you do get to a point where it's not that bad and you can figure out what to do, which is where I'm at now. But it definitely has a really rough learning curve. Which was challenging for me, because it was like, I want to see more of the story so badly. It's so interesting. It's so unique. And it was just like, I have to endure not really knowing what I'm doing right now. They also sort of have the problem we have with Xenoblade to an extent, John. Which it's not a problem, but you know how they like to slowly reveal the gameplay mechanics.
Yes. Definitely
a problem in this game as well, because... There was this, the main thing was I was struggling because I was getting really bad RNG for a while. And my friends were like, oh, let me give you advice. And all of their advice was to utilize a gameplay system that wasn't introduced yet. And that system is basically equipping gear. I didn't get to do that until I was like 10 hours into the game, which is a little rough. But like, if you can bear with it, it's not the worst. It's not that bad. And it definitely is more than worth it just for like the story, like I said, but also it leverages being a video game. Like there is stuff like you're playing, like there was the story was about, there was one of the chapters was about this like group of mercenaries who like kept having to do work nonstop because of the stuff that you had been doing, basically. Like all of they just kept getting jobs offloaded onto them, so they were all like really tired and like beat up, and like oh my god, you have like a broken rib, like you really can't go to this next job, and it's just like, well, you have to go to the job. And then you get into the battle and she has like 25% of her giant HP pool that they tell you about before the battle because she's tired. And it's just like a lot of stuff like that. Like they do tons of stuff like that. Like there are gimmick fights that you do against all the SCPs from that first game, where you have to like do it. Like I just did one against Pinocchio, and the thing was you had to figure out when Pinocchio was lying based on his little character model changing a little and it making wood creaking noises in the background.
It's pretty good.
Like just tons of stuff like that. Like there was one where it was like I couldn't figure it out, where it was like this torn off face on like a like on two poles or whatever, like a torn off face. And it was like, I can't figure out what the mechanic is for this. Like, oh, it's because in the background there's another one of the face like moving, and if you hit it when it's angry, like it does more damage to you. But if you hit it when it's happy, you do more damage to it. Like just like silly little gimmicks like that all the time of just like really leveraging. Yeah, it leverages being a game, right? And we love to see it. And that's the strong points of it. And that's why I'm continuing to push past it, even though I don't like card games. If you like card games, you might be able to get a lot more out of it. I know the main reason I'm being able to get through it is my friend made me a huge PowerPoint presentation, basically, of like all of the different builds to use for the different sections of the game, and like explaining why, which has been really helpful to me since I have troubles like conceptualizing card stuff. And that's really great. And there's a lot of other guides out there that you can use too, but it's definitely an intimidating game, but it's so worth it is what I'll say. Like if you're looking for like actually good cyberpunk, this genuinely is it. Like it has it all. It has the critiques of capitalism. It has like class divides. It has like talking a little bit about racism stuff, like in a smart way. Like it's a really, really cool game. I cannot think of anything else like it, is the main thing that I want to say about it. Like, I cannot compare it to something else. Like, it is so uniquely itself. And that rules. That fucking rules.
That is cool.
I'm really excited to see what else they do. But because my problem with Lobotomy Corporation is like, also it is similarly a nightmare to play, but it's just too much of a nightmare to play. For me, at least.
Yeah,
like
everything I heard about, like I've heard way more positive things about Library of Ruina than Lobotomy Corp, because like everyone's like, oh, I love the style, I love the like basic gameplay, but it is just way too fucking hard.
Yeah. And if I end up like I already love Ruina a lot, but if I end up like loving it, I'll probably end up cheat engineering Lobotomy Corporation, probably. Like I don't think I'll play it on that level because it seems like a nightmare. But this is great. It's on Game Pass on the PC, and it's on Steam too. It's not a big game. It's like $20, I think, normal. So you get it on sale. It's a great game. I really recommend it. It's fascinating, really fascinating.
All right, let's hit some more news here. Let's see here. First off, here, there was this is less news and more. Let's all point and laugh at their humiliation. So hey, Facebook is still trying to do their dumb meta shit. They're still trying to do all their VR stuff that nobody really wants. They're they're talking about putting out more like better headsets and all that shit. And one of the big things they mentioned was, oh, we have leg tracking now. You're going to be able to see legs on your avatars. And as if that wasn't something that was already done in like a bunch of other games. Like the only one that I know of is like VR chat, but like VR chat has fucking full leg movement and shit. But apparently their announcement was just fake. It was all motion capture animation, and they have not actually figured out how to do legs yet. So very funny, very stupid. Fuck me to Facebook, but ha 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 ha. Let's see what else we got here. Another just fucked up event that occurred recently was TwitchCon. I don't know too much about what all went down in at TwitchCon. I saw some people basically saying like, "Hey, this was run like shit." However, I do think a lot of the people that were complaining about how, like, you know, the general convention is being run were a bunch of Minecraft YouTuber fans who basically couldn't get in line fast enough, and so they were pissed that they didn't get to see their Blorbo. So I don't care about them. But I do care about... yeah, whatever. I do care that there was... So this wasn't necessarily... from Twitch itself. This was not like a Twitch thing. They rented out a booth to, I think it was Intel, and let me see who else it was.
Intel and Lenovo, I believe.
Yeah, Intel and Lenovo. They had a booth that at the booth there was a foam jump, like it was basically like the DashCon ball pit except large and with foam. You're just supposed to jump in there and like roll around and have yourself a fucking time. Well, they did not properly pad it. They just had a bunch of foam blocks in there with nothing underneath it, just the fucking hard concrete ground under that. And multiple people got hurt. There's a picture of someone who dislocated their knee. There's, a lot of people that, like, fucked up their tailbones and, like, other legs and arms and all that. And worst of all, streamer Adriana Chechik straight up broke her fucking back in 2 places. She recently had to go through surgery to get a rod put in her back. Just today there's like a video of her like walking for the first time after this. Like she's having to relearn how to walk because of this. Just absolutely horrible. Extremely unprofessional and unsafe. I'm hoping that Lenovo and Intel get the shit suit out of them for that one. None of these people should have to pay for their for what happened to them, and should also get some further compensation beyond that, because it's just fucked up. It's just fucked up, just really bad. It's messed up.
It is messed up. I don't wish this on anyone, any of this experience, but I do also like, when will we learn? When will we learn from the Tumblr Con? When will we stop this? Like, how many times does this need to happen?
It's like, if you want to make this sort of a thing, just create an expo. Like, no one is saying like, oh, never try and create a congregation like this again, but just think out what exactly it is that you're offering. Because I think an opportunity for individuals to actually like meet other streamers, other people on the platform, helps the community overall and can at least provide like potential crossovers. I'm seeing this at least, from the time that I worked with the fucking Fancy Food Fest here at the Javits Center. I was helping a company like sell their product, and from that standpoint of like business to business to business to business, like there wasn't any glitz and glamour outside of like, oh hey, this person is like putting on a funny suit to like promote their product. But from there it's like, oh hey, we like the product that you're making. I think it aligns well with what we actually have to offer. Let's trade cards, see if there's a potential like distributor packaging like deal we could do in the future. That's at least from a purely business standpoint, but I feel like something like that is still feasible for even just like community streamers, people that are involved with the entire experience of this very like dominant platform of media like generation and media consumption.
Mm-hmm. Just run your shit better, folks.
You can make fun of like people that go to the fucking porn expos, but you don't hear jokes. You don't hear anyone breaking their back at a porn expo. At least not that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's breaking their back. They're just getting their back blown out.
Exactly. Much respect to Adriana, of course. Like, this is fucking rough.
It's it's something like that shouldn't happen just because you decided to have a fun time over the weekend at a convention. Like, it's changed your life forever, and it should not have happened.
Also, the way that they kind of just like tried to keep the stream going, I think, after a lot of these.
Yeah.
Like, let it be known, regardless. Like, I feel like it's at least been some word of mouth for a while. Like, foam pits are just like kind of a trap to avoid if you aren't like a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, you could still get some like injury there. But it's like the way that the compression of like the foam cubes work, you have to be very particular about how you're landing into them. And doubly so if you're just, having some elevation to it over unprotected concrete.
It's not safe. Not safe.
Really what this says is we need more fucking safety inspectors everywhere for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. This is all I can think of every time. Not just with this, just anything. Anything. I'm like, God, we need more oversight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel that I started watching recently that is pretty interesting. It's a channel that goes over like historical disasters, and for the most part I would say it's pretty just like reasonable about it. They're not just like trying to like drum up drama and like be like a true crime podcast about it. It's just like laying out what happened and why it happened. And hey, like 95% of the time it is because shit didn't get looked over well enough. Like a lot of it is just like, yeah, they didn't have fire escapes, and they were ignoring a lot of the calls to get these things checked out. So a bunch of people died, and then a bunch of laws got passed to make sure that something like this didn't happen again. And it's just like, yeah, these things shouldn't have to happen. There should just be people. There should be regulations, and there should be safety inspectors that are making sure that these things are installed safely and that things aren't being built on like shaky ground. Let's see here. 2 more bits of quick news here. Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier, which was the Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale game for mobile only, is getting shut down January 11th, 2023. I think that is like just about a year, or maybe even less than when it came out. This is another, Square Enix thing that is getting shut down, like a live service thing. In this regard, I think this game was just managed very poorly in the sense that it was mobile only. Like, they were banning people who were emulating it, and there was no ports to anything besides mobile. So if you're playing on like you wouldn't want to play a like shooter like this on a tiny screen. There were people that were playing it on iPad or like bigger tablets and stuff that are basically like, yeah, no, this game is like fine, like it's not amazing, but it's solid. And if they had just put it on PC or put it on consoles, I'm sure it would have been far more successful. This is very much just like, I don't know why people aren't playing this. We put a shooter on a phone. Isn't that a great idea? And everyone just replied with no, and then they just ignored it. It's very, very dumb way of running a game like this, and it could absolutely have been popular.
Yeah, it's insane that they did not make it a point. And like hearing like they were banning people who were emulating it, like it's just like great, like awesome. Just what? Mm-hmm. I just want to know what was the goal? What was the goal with this? Like, I think about this with so many of these, like, I get it with the gacha games that are PNGs, right? Like, you're hiring artists to create, like, a design and, like, a character sheet for one girl, and then you put her into an RPG with a sprite, and it's really easy, low turnover, like, pretty easy if it fails to write it off. But, like, this is, like a whole ass game. Like they were doing an esports circuit for it. Like, why
Like
I don't know if it would have been like on the same level as something like Apex.
No
and all that,
way,
but yeah,
but like it would have been fine.
This would have been like a weeb, like, you know, people love Final Fantasy VII. They would have just been like, hell yeah, I want to play the Final Fantasy VII shooter. Yeah, there was no reason why this should have been fumbled, but it was. So
it feels like one of those things that, like, I hear it and I think someone looked at, like, mobile games are doing very well, and like, Battle Royale games are doing very well. Trying to combine the two, but not realizing, you know, people like the mobility, but also like being able to play a Battle Royale on more than one platform.
I also just think, like, you want to talk about like communications breakdown or expectations breakdown, like we have been. Like, I think, like, you look at the way Apex and PUBG are hugely successful in India, China, and Japan, and it's because smartphone, well, obviously less in Japan, but especially in China and India, like, and all the regions around Southeast Asia and stuff, like, smartphone gaming is the way you do things. Like, that is just the primary way that most people can play video games, because everyone has to have a smartphone, right? So it's just like, that's just the way you do it. And that's the reason those battle royales are so successful. And this idea that this was probably made to leverage that, but, like, is there Final Fantasy VII nostalgia in those markets? Like, probably not. Like, it's probably more in Japan, and especially over here. And it's just like, you can't have both of these markets. Like, you have to make a Switch version or something, right? Like a PS4 version, a PC version, even. Like, any of these things would have saved it. But it was just that it really feels to me like just a business dude comes in and he says, look, this is how much PUBG made. This is how much these no-name battle royales that you have never heard of made last quarter or something in these markets. And then just thinking that will work everywhere. Ugh. Someone needs to fire all the business people at Square Enix. I think that's really what it comes down to. They don't make any decisions that make sense. Like, I just think about how Final Fantasy XIV is always talking about the only way they're able to do the things that they do. And even then, they have a lot of money problems, to be clear, like, with regards to monetization and stuff. Like, they exist in, like, a separate office from all the other Square Enix people. And the head of that division is literally one of the members of the board. So they can just get away with it. Like, it's not good over there. Babylon's Fall got made.
And one more quick little bit of funsies news here. There were 2 Pokemon videos this week, and they introduced a new character, Iono, who is a streamer gym leader. She's the electric gym leader. And then they introduced her partner Pokemon, Bellybolt, who is this chubby frog with fake giant eyes, and it's very cute. So far, I dig the new Pokemon. It's got a new ability called Electromorphosis, which bumps up its the power of any electric moves that happen once it gets hit. Which is that's pretty strong, honestly. That could be pretty good. I don't know exactly how much stronger it'll be. I watched a video by Wolf Glick, the competitive Pokemon player, who's basically just like, yeah, if this is just like an automatic use of the move Charge, that'll be pretty strong. Like, if it just like doubles the power of an attack, that would be pretty good. Looks neat, like, you know, good new Pokemon, very cute, good new trainer, good new ability. Just interesting information all around there for Scarlet and Violet. Looking forward to that game more and more.
I hope it's okay. I'm still very worried.
Yeah,
and I will say, like,
reasonably so.
I think the 3D works for this character specifically because she's so, like, over the top with her design. But it's like the rest of that art style really has not done it any favors to me, I think. But that said, like, and I think even some of the Pokemon look a little weird in 3D compared to the 2D art. Like I said, like that monkey. But overall, like, again, like, these designs are looking good, I think, this time around, mostly. Like, I'm excited to see what other sorts of new buddies they got in there.
I know you really like Furrig Giraffe.
Yeah, that's fucking great. It's so cute. It's awesome.
I like Furry Draft too.
It's such a.
I'm probably going to use one.
It's making me like hopeful that like what I've been wanting recently is, don't get me wrong, I fucking love regional forums a lot. Like, I think they're awesome, but we need to go back to like doing evolutions for Pokemon who have been left behind. We don't need to keep making like a different color version of them. Like,
well, next week in game magazines. That's all I'll say.
yeah, I know. I just think it's good. I think it's good. I'm really happy to see this. Like, there is such a like, we don't need to keep making new. And I think that's part of what the like when Alolan forms first came out, that was part of the driving force behind it, right? Like, we can revisit this, we can do something fun with it. And I think it's even better to go back and be like, hey, remember, you know, like even fucking, I hate Stanler. You know, I hate Stanler. We've talked about this before, but like the idea of
Weirdeer's cool,
and revisiting Stanler to do something to it. That's great. Like, that's leveraging what you have and making it into something that is good. Like that is what I want to see out of Pokemon.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I was going to wrap this up with a bit of bad news here, but it's some straight up breaking news that is going down here. Kind of trying to read through what was said here. I don't know too much about the situation, but I'll just kind of touch on this the TLDR version of it here. So a former employee of Rooster Teeth, who also did some voice work and some other work for them ever since 2013, has written a twit longer detailing basically just years and years and years of horrible treatment by Rooster Teeth. Started out February 2013 to November 2013, was completely unpaid, got paid $100 bonus in 2013's Christmas for just like, you know, existing for that year. Constantly crunched. Like, basically just from day one. It says here, like, 14-hour work days, 15-hour work days as time went on. Once COVID hit, there was just even more crunch, because they were, you know, having people edit videos throughout that whole thing. Lots of talk about, like, working sick, all kinds of shit with that. There is, one of the most damning parts of this, though, is fucking insane, is that this individual, Caden Jensen, was basically just called the was called the F slur basically the entire time that they were working there, and like off camera, and so on camera they were called thugs, which was them basically covering up calling them the F slur. So that way, like, people, like, the fans were calling them that, where they were basically unknowingly calling them the F slur. Really, really fucking horrible shit. Like, oh my god. Unpaid for all of their VO work while they were at Rooster Teeth. Like, they played, some characters in, like, Ruby. Just fucking horrible. Like, oh my god.
I really like this
fucking
line
horrible.
Where they said that they brought in the business resource groups to come in and help solve representation issues in the company, and then they were told that they have done enough for the queer community. Really miserable. More and more of this stuff keeps coming out about Rooster Teeth specifically. It really does sound like those fucking dudes who founded it just like gave up. Like, they didn't care anymore once they got bought out or whatever. It seems like it was bad forever, don't get me wrong, but it really seems like once they sold it off, they were like, all right, we don't have to do anything anymore. Cool. Free money.
Yeah. And to wrap up the news here, we do have one last bit of... We've got the Activision Blizzard harassment update, everybody.
Just get a theme song for that, since it happens every week.
No, I'm too tired. You can't do that. So another lawsuit has been filed. This one is a bit more one-on-one here, but it does showcase the continued harassment that was going down at Activision Blizzard, and how they did not act on a lot of the things that were getting reported. So a female employee who is Jane Doeing it, understandably, is suing Activision Blizzard against a former manager, Miguel Vera, who claimed that he was constantly sexist and harassing, saying all kinds of gross sex shit that I'm not going to repeat. At one point, like, when I guess before she got, or I think like he helped her get fired. No, he helped her get hired for the company. And at some point they had like a bit of a consensual, like, doesn't seem like a full relationship, but there was like some photos getting swapped around. And so he used that as leverage against her in the future, and just was basically just like, you know, just being completely fucking gross, constantly trying to say like, yeah, you're gonna fuck me eventually. That sort of deal. Just a horrible, horrible treatment to this woman. He was fired September 1st last year, but she claimed that she was, that she reported him back in 2017 and that nothing happened. Basically, they just let him go once things started to hit the fan. And I mean, he was she complained to HR about him, but anytime that she was thinking about like maybe coming to the news specifically, he was threatening about the pictures that she had sent him. So yeah, fucked up. There's going to be a full jury trial for this now. She's seeking damages, legal fees, lost earnings, and medical costs. And yeah, hopefully she gets some fucking money from this, because that's horrible. And that is just another chapter in the Activision Blizzard woes here.
It's
holy shit.
It never stops. I'm like mortified of what will happen once it gets absorbed by Microsoft fully, which shouldn't happen, by the way. Antitrust laws should come into play, but we'll see. I know they said they were investigating that, but just man.
All right. Well, we did get some questions, and we can go ahead and answer those. If you want to send in questions, go to videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com/ask, and you'll sound like these folks right here. Angie asks, what do you think the next Pokemon to get a ridiculously silly or maybe even wormy variant will be? I mean, I have some ideas, but I don't think I could say.
I was thinking about it when I was thinking, I think like Johto is a region that they've started acknowledging recently, but has been really ignored for a long while, in terms of just Pokemon who just fuck around and don't really exist in a big capacity. I would love to see them do something with Hoot Hoot again. I would love to see a new Noctowl, because I feel like the other owls that exist in Pokemon, I mean, there's only the evolution, actually, huh? The whatever it's called, Decidueye. Is that the only one? The only other owl?
I think so.
Decidueye. Yeah, I think that is it.
So I would love to see what like they could do with a more regal owl with Noctowl, if they did a new Noctowl.
That'd be cool.
Or if they even if they went opposite, not like Noctowl's the night one and then they make a day one. That could be fun. Do a barn owl, make it look fucked up.
Yeah. Maverick, do you have any ideas for a variant you would want to see? Or convergent evolution, even, like they're doing here?
I'm trying to think. Keeping in mind with the way that maybe a different variant on like Mareep.
Okay.
So let me see what else that line's got. Ampharos is already pretty fun. I know we already got Mega Ampharos, but I wouldn't mind even a further exploration of what that offers.
Fluffier.
Even fluffier.
Even fluffier. Let's do it. All right, and then last question here from Chellabuster, who starts off trying to ask us another episode 69.6 question, trying to say, hey, would you fuck Donald and Goofy from Kingdom Hearts? It has to be at the same time. But we don't have to answer that because it's not 69.6. So the real question here is, who should Kyle Gass play in the Mario movie? I actually talked to Bob of Soda Milk fame recently on Twitter about this. And I agree with him that Lakitu would be a really good.
Oh wow,
would be really good for him. Yeah,
you know what? That is good. I'm trying
It's
to think
really
like
good.
what's another Bowser ass motherfucker who would do that? Like I'm trying to think like who does Bowser hang out with?
I mean, really, I think it would have been good to just have him be Magic Koopa,
Yeah,
or
Kamek,
Kamek, or whatever. Yeah,
I was thinking that, but it's like that's too refined for him.
Yeah,
Like he needs like I'm
it's kind of like a goofy.
I'm trying to think like Wario. I don't like realistically they could have been Wario and Luigi in another world. These two, but
Yeah,
like in this one, Bowser. I'm trying to think who does Bowser hang out with? Who does Bowser?
I mean, that's kind of part of it. Bowser doesn't really hang out with anybody.
He only hangs out with the Mario guys. He could be like a Hammer Bro who hangs out.
Maybe.
I'm trying to think. Who does Bowser hang out with? You can't have Wart.
Smithy.
Yeah, they bring Smithy for the movie. They bring Smithy in. That would...
They bring back Booster.
Yeah.
Fuck off. They're not bringing Booster and Smithy in.
They get Boshi in there.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm trying to... Like, what if they just had Bowser Jr. and it's voiced by him?
That'd be pretty good.
Who sounds like... God.
Yeah, full-grown adult man.
I like this,
that would be
actually. This is
good.
really good. No, they should do that.
Hey, Pops, what's going on?
Junior.
God. Well, thank you so much for the questions, everybody. Of course, thank you all so much for listening. If you want to support us, you can go to our website, videogamechoochoo.com. Type that in, you'll go right there. You'll look at all the stuff that we post all the time. Over Twitter at VGChoochoo, or Tumblr, videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com, and facebook.com/videogamechoochoo. If you want to keep up with our stuff through social media, we also have our YouTube and Twitch pages, youtube.com/videogamechoochoo and twitch.tv/VGChoochoo. Scott's been doing Elden Ring streams every week now, so if you like Elden Ring, there you go. Over Patreon, patreon.com/VGCC. If you want to support us, it's just $3 a month for all of our extra content a week early. That'll be, so far, it's mostly Unlimited Railworks, or anime podcast that us three do, as well as LV. And come hang out with us on the Discord, thegamezone.zone. You type that into your web browser and it'll bring you straight there. We're always talking about dumb shit. It's great. Thank you to Melt Channel /Magic Circuit for a theme song Crush off of the album Magic is Real. If you want to listen to more of their stuff, it's meltchannel.bandcamp.com or magic-circuit.bandcamp.com. You can get it now, or you can wait for the next Bandcamp Friday. Either way, it's all good music. Rose, where can people find you?
Twitter at Horngal, Twitch at Curry Draco. That's me.
All right. Maverick, where can people find you?
People can find me over on Twitter at Mavsplaniamania. That's at MAVSPLANIAMANIA, where I'm just posting.
Mm-hmm. And I am at JOHN_MICHONSKI on Twitter. And that's it. Folks, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Video Game Choo Choo podcast. So long and keep fighting.